The trip to Lake Michigan was supposed to be relaxing. At least that's what I had been told. My name is Shadow, and somehow I had been dared to try a water sport. I agreed because at the time I apparently had the survival instincts of a potato. What the fuck? Why is it gotta come at me like that? Um, I arrived at Lake Michigan expecting something involving a tube. The fuck? Maybe a jet ski, or at worst, one of those ridiculous inflatable banana boats. What is with the bananas? Um, Instead, someone handed me a pair of skis. You're going skiing. I start. I stared at them. Those are water skis. Yes. I looked at the enormous lake, then back at the skis. This wasn't what I had in mind. 5 minutes later, I was being dragged across the water while making noises that probably frightened nearby wildlife. I spent most of my first attempt underwater, briefly achieving a new personal record for swallowing Lake Michigan. Eventually, though, I figured it out. I was skiing, I was standing, I was actually doing it. Then the water beneath me started bubbling. I stopped celebrating. A dark shape emerged from the lake. Then another.
Loki_Jotunheim says giggity.
Then another. Mermaids, someone screamed. A group of mermaids burst out of the water, shrieking and waving strange weapons around their heads. I panicked. I screamed. I attempted to ski away at approximately 3 miles per hour, which is not particularly useful when being pursued by angry aquatic women. The mermaids are attacking. One of them raised her weapon. I braced myself for the end. Then I actually looked at the thing. I froze. It was unmistakably phallic looking. I looked at the other mermaids. Their weapons were phallic looking too. My terror immediately transformed into a completely different emotion. I was mortified and, against my better judgment, slightly aroused. Why? I yelled. Are your weapons like that? The mermaids stared at me. I stared at them. One of them shrugged. Apparently, this was perfectly normal mermaid warfare. At that point, I decided I had learned enough about water sports for one lifetime. I let go of the rope, fell backward into Lake Michigan, and sank beneath the waves. When I surfaced, everyone was laughing. I had gone to Lake Michigan to learn how to ski. Instead, I learned 3 important lessons. Never accept a dare without asking questions. Never underestimate mermaids. And if your enemy's weapons look suspiciously phallic, being terrified is probably not the only emotion you're going to experience. I still don't know whether I successfully learned how to water ski, but I definitely learned how to get hell away from mermaids. The end.